Hey everyone, you're listening to the Simple Electronics Podcast. I'm your host, Dan from the Simple Electronics YouTube channel. This episode is sponsored by PCBWay, but more about that a little bit later on. I want to get started today with a small rant about Aliexpress. Now, typically, I love Aliexpress. This is pretty much where I've been buying all of my stuff in the last 2-3 years, ever since another maker pointed out that the shipping on AliExpress, you have options. Whereas when you buy stuff on eBay, which was my other market of choice, you just got whatever the seller had for you. There was just no, there's no changing it. And it's been going pretty good. I have had a couple occasions where stuff just didn't show up at all. And AliExpress was not too difficult to deal with and get me my money back. So that was pretty good. However, recently I've been raving about the choice specials, the $1.99, $2.99, $3.99 US dollar items. And what's cool about that is you can pick up to 10 items. Usually they're about $1.99 American, and then put them all in your cart, buy them all in one shot. It comes from the same seller. It's always like the whole order goes through the same seller, and then it shows up at your door. Well, very recently, I did one of those orders. I probably did about 5 or 6 total, and one of them showed up with just random items, not quite the stuff I had ordered. There was like a weird USB LED strip. But instead of a strip, it was just kind of like point-to-point wiring with a little bead of epoxy on top of the LEDs. There was like an under cabinet, like an LED tube thing, which was, not very useful for me. A couple little items like that, some USB micro cables with like a swivel on them, but just not stuff that is useful. Well, you have to individually report every single item to AliExpress. You can't just do it in one order. So it was one order of 10 items, and I had to go through and deal with each individually. Fine. So I opened up 10 claims. I used, I told them that the seller just sent me whatever garbage, not what I ordered. And I told them, here's the picture of what I did get. And the first thing I noticed was that there's not really any options on AliExpress's like claim thing that you got a package, but it wasn't what you ordered. There's like, you've received part of your order or you haven't received anything. And the thing is, if you pick the wrong one, they're just going to reject your claim. So I did the best I could. I explained, I took photos of what I got, the outside of the package and the inside of the package and the items. And then 2 or 3 days later, I get a refund for one of the items and then a denial for the other items. I don't get I get disapproved for the other items. And they said, you have to provide more information. And it's like, what do you mean more information? And so I hop on with their customer support, and I chat with the customer support for probably like 10 minutes. It's actually quite a long time talking to their customer support on the chat feature. And they tell me, okay, well, it's escalated and this is just the way our system works and whatever. Upper management's going to take a look at it. And so I get a message a couple of days later with I get one of the 10 items refunded again, and then they say upper management has ruled you need to provide more information, blah blah blah. So I was like, what the hell? I have to go in and I resubmit the exact same image, the exact same text on the other stuff, and then finally 3 or 4 days later it gets reapproved. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but I don't really know the alternative. What's the alternative to AliExpress? AliExpress is pretty much like a direct portal to Chinese goods. And so I really don't know what am I supposed to do to replace AliExpress. I could try eBay again. Maybe that is the way to go. But I'm actually just wondering, like, where do you folks get your electronics components? And I'm talking about like LEDs and, transistors, like passives and active components, chips, boards, microcontrollers, and stuff like that. I'll tell you now, if I had to order everything from DigiKey or Mouser, the channel would just not happen. Like I did do I believe it was a DigiKey order. I don't remember actually. I've got a box full of components for an upcoming project that I had to order from a local supplier because it was just much easier to follow the BOM like that, bill of material. And the cost is just insanely high. Yes, they are traceable parts and they are, parts you can rely on. They're probably going to work first time, every time. But the point is, there's no way that I can afford to do my messing around projects or to have a bunch of stuff in stock if I have to go with local suppliers. Amazon is just as bad. Right? Like on Amazon, let me actually just pull this up right now. I'm going to look it up as I speak. Let's see if I want a 555 timer. Don't forget, I am in Canada. All right. So 10 555 timers for $13.50. Or I can get 100 555 timers for $28 Canadian. I can get 10 pieces for $10, so $1 a piece. That's not too bad. Let me check Aliexpress now with the shipping. So 555 timer, and we'll look this up. Okay, so for 20 pieces, it is $1.03 and $1.18 shipping. If I want that is the SOP8, the surface mount. For the dip package, it's a whopping, it's like 15 cents more. So $1.18 with $1.18 of shipping. So you see the price difference here? It's like an order of magnitude cheaper on AliExpress. Let's try eBay now. 555 timer. So on AliExpress, I'll just search for 20 pieces. Price plus shipping, lowest first. And it looks like, it's actually cheaper on eBay. It's $1.43 Canadian with free shipping. So maybe it is time to jump back to China. Now, let's check the delivery times to eBay, not to China. It's always in China. So let's see. The delivery is between October 27th and November 9th, and today is October 10th. So let's say, 17 days to 20-some days. On AliExpress, that'll be delivered on December 12th. Wow, that is way further in the future. Let's try something else. Let's try maybe 5-watt LED RGB. So just like an emitter, a 5-watt emitter. Let's see, 5-watt over here. Doing some shopping here. Just gonna need a little bit of patience. Okay, RGBW 8-pin, RGB 4-pin. Here we go. So they don't have 5 watts; they only have 3 watts. Okay, so let's say 3 watts. So $5.60 on AliExpress. Free shipping December 12th. And if I go 3-watt RGB 4-pin on eBay, what do we get? Price plus shipping, lowest first. Just looking for the ones with the sort of the heatsink. Only RGB LED. With 3-watt 4-pin. Looks like it'll be 99 cents. That's one. And then $3.50 of shipping. So that's actually quite a bit more expensive. And it doesn't really say how many it comes with. I think it's just the one. So in this case, I believe eBay is a bit more expensive. Maybe if I went shopping a little bit more, I may be able to find something. But yeah, it seems definitely more expensive. So it seems like I need to go back and forth a little bit and figure out which one is cheaper. But I might just go back to eBay. Now, the thing with AliExpress, though, is I do get affiliate commission on the stuff that I post. And that affiliate commission, I'll tell you, over the course of a year, I probably make close to $100 in commission. Let's do this. Let's do this live here, so you guys can see the numbers in real time. More. How can I check this out? Date. So October. Oh, geez. Okay. October 2022. Oh, I can't do a report for that long. Well, I can't really give you a report for a year, but I will tell you I have about $100 in my affiliate account. And I believe the last time I cashed it out was like last winter. So probably this year I made about $100. And it may not sound like a lot. Like, it's not a lot to, you can't live off of that amount of affiliate. But don't forget that a lot of the things that people buy off my affiliate links are worth like 30 cents, $1, $2, $3, $5. And so essentially, I'm getting this, like, I wish I could tell you the amount of orders. So I'll tell you, last month, there was 45 orders, which earned me about $25. So it's like 50 cents commission per order. And those orders contain multiple items. So that is like a lot of people clicking, and it's not a lot of revenue, but it is like a lot of people are using the links, which is really awesome. And if I compare that on Amazon, let's see. I'll check last month. So it's a apples to apples comparison between Amazon and AliExpress. Let's see, date range last month. So on Amazon, I made $85.96, but that's across all the markets. So some of that money I'll never see. And if you don't know how it works, basically, if I get affiliate revenue on Amazon.ca, the Canadian one, they just send me a gift card once a month if I made over $10. For the US commission, they gather it up until I get, I think it's over $100, and then they send me a check. Typically, it takes like 3-4 months to earn $100. And then the same thing in UK, Germany, France. There's a couple other countries, and I've yet to hit the threshold in those countries. So they're hanging on to the money until I make enough money in those markets, and then they send me a check. So maybe eventually I'll get a check from those other markets, but at the moment, it's just the Canadian and the American stuff that's paying off. But I mean, it's a non-zero amount, right? On eBay, though, I used to have an affiliate account for eBay, but it was so little money. Like, it was like 30 cents a month, and they were just direct depositing it into my bank account. And I'm like, it's just not worth it for like 30 cents. The issue is, like, I have to track all this for taxation reasons. And like the going through the reports was not worth the like $2 I made at the end of the year. I mean, maybe I can shop on eBay again and see if I can make some affiliate money off that anyways. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's the deal, because AliExpress's customer service, it does come through, but it's not a great experience. I know, like, Amazon customer service is amazing. Even though they don't treat their workers very well, then again, I don't really know how the AliExpress workers are treated. Probably not great. But it is nice to know that it's like super easy. If something arrives broken, doesn't work, whatever, I just print the label, stick it on, and ship it back. By the way, I'm recording this on October 10th, 2023. And so today and tomorrow, the 11th, is Prime Day. So if you are a Patreon patron or a channel member, you'll still be listening to this during Prime Day. And so if you've got any insight of any Prime Day deals that you find that are interesting, let me know, because so far I have not found anything. I have a sort of like a long wish list on Amazon, and I checked, and my wish list is like empty of Prime Day deals. There's no Prime Day deals on stuff that I want. So that's a little bit of a shame. But I hope you guys got something great. I was thinking of getting some RAM because I have a laptop. I don't know if you guys know this, but I work at a college, and I use an old laptop for teaching, so to show my PowerPoints and stuff like that. So I have a 15-inch, an old AMD A7. So this is AMD pre-Ryzen. I'm trying to figure out AMD A7 processor release date. I think it's a A7. It's an A7 or A8. Released in 2011. Does that make sense? Maybe not. A7 or A8. Maybe 2011. I don't know if it's actually that old. But anyways, I have an old AMD laptop, and this thing is slow as heck. I was trying to update some Arduino firmware with it, and it took like 2 minutes to compile the code, and the code is literally like 30 lines, maybe not even 20 lines. And so this thing is old. So what I have done is I went with a company called Verowak. Verowak is sort of like it's a startup. It's a small company. They make laptops, but they make laptops that are completely upgradable. They're completely repairable. They have spare parts available on their website. And instead of USB ports and HDMI ports and whatever on the side of the laptop, you get these modules that plug in. And those modules have whatever you want on them. So you want USB-C, USB-A, an SD card reader, Ethernet, HDMI, whatever. You get it all, right? You order whatever modules you need. And so there's a new run of AMD processors, and I put in a pre-order to get one of these laptops because my laptop, the battery is completely shot, but the battery is like, it's almost a one-way street to get into the laptop because it's like there's 5 screws on the bottom and it's all clipped together. It's an HP laptop. And so if I had bought a Verowak laptop, Verowak didn't exist when I bought mine, but I mean, I'm just saying, if I would have bought a first generation Verowak laptop and the processing power was not enough for me, I could actually just go on Verowak's website and order just the new motherboard, and it fits directly into the original chassis. And so everything is upgraded just by ordering the motherboard. So I've never, ever owned a premium laptop before. I've always bought sort of like low-end laptops. And I think now is the end. So I put in a pre-order. It's quite expensive. It's going to cost about $2,000. But the principle is this laptop will be faster than my current desktop. And don't forget, I'll be using it for work. I'll be using it mostly for the YouTube channel. I'll be able to do editing on the run. I'll be able to update my website and stuff that I've been talking about a lot, learning programming and stuff like that. So it's going to be mostly for business use. So the calculus changes a little bit, but it is going to be a really good laptop, and I'll be able to upgrade it down the line. What is super cool about this laptop, and when I get it, I'm going to make a video about it, is that you can order a DIY edition of this laptop, which is what I did. So the DIY edition comes with the chassis, the screen, the battery, the motherboard, and the CPU. And then you provide your own operating system, RAM, hard drive, and accessories and stuff like that. And you build it yourself. And so even better than a laptop that I can fix whenever I need to, upgrade whenever I need to, change the internal components whenever I damn well please. This thing actually does not come with stuff I don't need. So I ordered the modules that suit the ports that I need. I think I got HDMI, USB-C, USB-A. I think I got two, you get four. So I got two USB-Cs, an HDMI, and USB-A, I believe is what I got. Oh, you can even order it without their charger. So you save money if you just have your own USB-C charger. So that's the way I'm doing it. And so I can't wait to get it, unbox it on camera. Maybe I'll do a live stream, but unbox it on camera, install my own operating system. You can install, Linux, you can install Windows, you can do whatever you want with it. And then you use it. I mean, it really is that simple. So I got my own hard drive for it, which is a Samsung 970 Evo 2 terabyte NVMe drive. And I'm buying a charger for it at some point. I should have it in my cart already. Yeah. There's a Prime Day deal for a Ugreen 66 watt USB-C charger. The only thing is, they go on sale pretty often, so I'm not in a hurry to get that. And the only thing that's missing is laptop RAM, but there's not really any good deals on it, so I'm going to be waiting for that. Hopefully RAM doesn't go up precipitously in price before I actually end up, getting the laptop. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So it seems like these days I've been doing a lot, but getting not much accomplished. So it feels like I've just been spinning my wheels, this whole time. Let me give you an example of this. So for a little while here, my wife has been working on a YouTube channel where she reacts to popular movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And her background, she found it quite plain. So I was talking to her and I was telling her, well, we can put in some RGB LEDs around her. She has like a cubic bookshelf and a regular bookshelf. So one is on, frame left, the other one is on frame right. And I said, I've got these RGB LED strips. We can run the strip on the back side of both your shelves, and then we'll just plug it into the wall. And I've got these, cheap Chinesium RGB controllers with a little, remote control. And we'll plug you all in, and everything is going to be all good. So she agreed. And so I brought up the strip. We wanted to see how bright it would be against her studio lighting. And we just, held it up on the back of the bookshelf, and I held it up. I found that I couldn't connect it directly to the controller, but that's okay. I just touched the contacts onto the controller and turned on the controller, and nothing. The controller, I guess, just didn't work. So it wasn't working. So I said, that's okay. When do you need to record stuff? And she said, tomorrow. And I said, okay. Controlling RGB LED strips is quite simple. These were the dumb strips. They're not NeoPixels. They're the ones where they have a common 12 volt, and then each channel has their own individual ground for red, green, and blue. So I said, no problem. I'll build you something. And so I headed to the basement. I grabbed, first of all, I should say that I made a mistake. I thought it was a common ground and each had their own 12 volts. So I made her a system where I had 3 buck converters and a 24 volt power supply. And the way I had wired it is each channel, each color would have their own buck converter. So from 24 down to whatever voltage. And I set them all three to 12.6 volts, a little bit higher than 12 volts because I know she wants the extra brightness. And then I desoldered the 10-turn trimmer pots onto the off of the 3 buck converters. And I soldered in a Molex connector and a female side, and I soldered in a male Molex connector on a 10-turn potentiometer, like a big one, a hand-turning one, not a trimmer pot. And then I put this all into a box, and I made it, and I brought it up to her, and we plugged in the RGB strip, and nothing. And that's when I had realized that it was actually common power, and each of them had different grounds. So I had reverse polarity. Oh well, not that big of a deal. So I said, that's fine. Back to the drawing board. I grabbed an Arduino Pro Mini, which I had laying around. And then what I did was I wired up 3 10-turn potentiometers, again, 5-volt rail and negative, and then each of the wipers onto A0, A1, and A2. And I did an analog read, mapped that analog read value, which gives you a value between 0 and 1023, to 0 and 255, I believe. And then I analog wrote out on 3 pins, I think it's 9, 10, 11, the value that was mapped. So analog write. So basically, I was reading the value of the pot and outputting it as a PWM signal on three pins. And so those 3 pins went to big NPN transistors I have. So in stock, I have TIP 120s. They are Darlington NPN transistors. So they are, Darlington just means that they're 2 transistors integrated one into another. So one transistor powers the other one. And so you get really low resistance. You get a lot of current carrying capabilities for a very low gate current. And I made her, I put this all onto a board, and then we went up, we stuck the RGB tape on, and then I put the device, and the device was working, except that she had no control over either the blue or the red channel. And let's just say she had no control over the blue channel, but the red channel would do red and blue together. Great. So I went to take a look at my code. Turns out I fat fingered and put the wrong value somewhere. So I fixed the code, and then one of the wires broke off the RGB strip, resoldered everything, and finally she was able to use it. So if you want to check it out, this podcast will be releasing in early access on Patreon and on the memberships. But I'll see if I can put in the link to her video in the description if I remember to after. But on Wednesday, October 11th, she is releasing the first video that she has reacted to using the RGB strips in the background. So if you want to check out the link in the description, you'll be able to see, the nice, I think it was purple at the time. I think she was still reacting while it was like stuck on 2 colors. So you'll see the little purple background. Well, I made that. And so I was just thinking it's actually fairly simple to do something like that. And so I'm probably going to, make that into a project video, and I'll probably have some PCBs spun, and then you guys will be able to control your own RGB LEDs at home like that with your Arduino. And I think as a stretch goal, I might end up using a ESP32, so then you can change the colors from a web interface eventually. But this is the kind of thing where I am technically working on YouTube videos, but there's no YouTube video to show for it because there's still a lot more work to be done before it becomes a YouTube video. But what's great about these kinds of things is that it's a relatively simple circuit, and then I can make a relatively simple PCB, like from PCBWay, the sponsor of today's podcast. So that brings me in very easily into the sponsor segment. It'll be very quick because you already know the drill. When this circuit becomes a PCB, you'll be able to follow the link in the video. It'll bring you to PCBWay's page, and also you can browse it on the shared projects. And then all you have to do is, click buy this PCB, and then you put it in your cart. You specify the color of solder mask, the finish you want, and if the board is compact enough, you can actually get up to like 20 boards for $5. This one might be a little bit bigger, so you may only be able to get like 10, but that's the cool part. If you don't make a 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter board, if you make them smaller, you can get more than the advertised 5 boards for $5, plus shipping, obviously. And they're really high quality boards, end up at your house, and then you can actually put together a really cool project. So yeah, look forward to that. If PCBWay, get yourself some boards if you're interested, and you help me, you help them sponsor this channel, so that helps me out a lot. What else have I been working on? Well, I was thinking I was going to have my battery video published this week, but as it turns out, I'm not very good at measuring things. So this is kind of like sort of like a run-on effect. Basically, I needed to make some custom battery posts, and the reason I want to make custom ones is because I don't know if you've seen the price of battery posts, but literally these things are like $20 to $30 for a pair, which doesn't make any sense because it is literally a threaded rod and a couple of plastic pieces. And I thought, you know what? I can buy threaded rod. I can buy a conductive threaded rod, and I can make my own plastic pieces. So I finally got around to design my battery posts. So that is actually done. I've designed 3 iterations so far. A maxi, like a big size one, a mini, so a smaller, thinner one, and a micro, which is even thinner. And I needed to design these because I needed this to finish my battery video. My battery needs battery posts in order to plug into. And so I bought some, and it turns out they weren't long enough to do what I needed to do. You'll see in the video. And so I was like, well, F that. I am just going to order my own threaded rod and hardware and make my own. So it turns out brass threaded rod is actually fairly expensive. It wasn't too bad. Like, it wasn't like, bank breaking. Let's see if I can pull up the order here as we speak. Scrolling down. So M6, which was literally all that the battery terminals that I bought were, 250 mils long. That's okay. I'm just going to cut them to size. And then I got 4 pieces of that, and it cost me $17.76. So I figure I can make about 20 sets of battery posts for that price. And then I got some M6 brass hex nuts and some brass washers as well. So I got all brass parts, brass washer. The hex nuts were, give me a second, $6.10 for 40 of them, and the washers were $5.76 for 40 of them. And so it's not actually that expensive, and I can make them however long I want. So yeah, now I have these posts done, and I install them onto the holder that I made for my battery system, and realize that the holder is too small. That these battery terminals, these battery posts I've built, are actually interfering with another part of the battery holder. So I'm like, I can't get a break. So I go on to Fusion, make myself a new design, print out the new design, and now it looks like it's all going to go together. So now I got to put it together. But it was towards the end of the day, and I have to record this podcast. So, another bit of work that I've done that isn't adding up to a video quite yet. So it almost feels like there's going to be like a deluge of videos towards the end of October, early November. But yeah, until I get there, you guys are going to be videoless. And this channel is seeming more and more like a podcast channel, sadly. Another thing is the trailer tester. A little bit of progress. I am designing the footprints right now for the terminals that I'll use to hold the relays. So because I have to design the footprints, that is taking me a while. I'm doing it all manually, all by hand measurements with my vernier caliper. So that's taking quite a while. And what else have I been working on? I filmed 2 mailbag videos, so I just need to edit those and get them up. So this channel will be, again, a little bit less of a podcast-only channel. And yeah, that's just what I've been working on. You know what's crazy is sitting here every 2 weeks and talking to you made me realize how little time actually passes in 2 weeks. Like, I feel like I have been busy every single day for the last 2 weeks, but I feel like I don't have enough to talk to you guys about. Like, I feel guilty. I mean, I did go back to work. I'm no longer on vacation, so there is that occupying my mind, and I still haven't dealt with my car's transmission. It's still sitting in the driveway doing nothing because it's been horrible weather here. It's been raining. I don't mind the cold so much. It's starting to get cold now, finally. I don't mind that, but I can't work out in the rain. I'm just open air in my driveway. So there's that. But yeah, it feels like I've been just doing so much in these last 2 weeks. But when I sit down to recall it all, it's almost like I've done nothing. But there was one more thing that happened in these last 2 weeks is a friend of mine, I should say more than friend, a mentor of mine, a gentleman who has helped me out a lot when I was getting started in my day job of being a mechanic. He was working the same shift as me when I was pretty fresh in the trade, and he basically started me off. Like, he showed me, I started from zero when I first put foot in a shop. I had a little bit of experience under my belt working on my own car, but that's not the same as professional experience. But he was the licensed technician that basically, showed me what I needed to learn the very first time. And he has left the trade, probably 10 years ago. I don't know. Time is so stretchy, especially since the pandemic. But he left the trade a long time ago to become a high school teacher. And I was dabbling in the thoughts that I want to be a high school teacher also at some point. But I may just not have the patience for high school kids. High school kids they're very intense. And there's like 40 of them per class. And it's quite chaotic. So maybe that's not for me. Maybe I should stick to college when they let me work. But it doesn't matter. There is this this training program in my province here that allows students to take extra courses to get extra credits, or credentials, I should say. They're not really credits; they're credentials when they graduate high school. So there's like these special training sessions where you can, you get an industry expert to come in and do a course for a day for these students, and it accelerates their learning. And it means a lot to them because some of these students are really into these kinds of things. And even though their teacher, which is my colleague, my mentor, is more than qualified to teach them what they need to know through these courses, the thing is, it's a matter of perspective. They see him as one of their teachers. If I go in there and teach something, it is different in their eyes because I am an industry expert and not their teacher. You know what I mean? So I've been asked to teach about a 6-hour-long course on, basic electricity like Ohm's law, crimping wires they're not allowed to solder because of the lead and the heat, etc. And then multimeter use, basic multimeter use, and basic oscilloscope use. And it's pretty cool because they have all the equipment they need to do this. And my colleague and I came up with a rough lesson plan idea. So probably in late October, probably early November, to be quite honest, I'll be going in there and as a guest, and I will be teaching basic electrical stuff to a group of high school students. I don't know what age range they are. They may not be grade 9, but grade 10, 11, 12, I think is pretty much what I'm expecting. And I find that super cool because at my college, I teach a program called pre-apprenticeship. Or, well, we call it pre-apprenticeship. There's an official name, but we call it pre-apprenticeship. Because basically, how you get into the trades here, there's 2 ways. One is you go right off the street, you hope you get hired, and then you hope you don't make an ass out of yourself on customer vehicles, right? They train you, they show you the basics, and then they kind of let you go. And you hope you don't do anything catastrophic. The other way is to take courses, if you're lucky, if your high school gives these courses, because budgets are being constrained time and time again, is you take like auto shop or something like that, and then you can go into the trade with a tiny little bit of base. The other way you can do it, which is kind of like superior to that, in my opinion, is you go to a pre-apprenticeship program. So it's an intensive course. There's only a few colleges in the province who offer it. And you basically, there's almost no theory. You're just embedded with 2 professors or 1 professor, and you're in the shop and you're doing things. You're learning things like which screwdriver goes with which screw, how to use a multimeter, how to check fuses, how to take on and off wheels, how to put on and off tires, balance tires, how to do oil changes. Just the basic things that people who their parents can't afford a garage, much less, to risk, working on their car and breaking the lifeline of their family. We take these kids who want to learn. I say kids, it's any age, but we try to target people just finishing high school, and we teach them the trade. And so they get like embedded. And so if I get the chance to do some of that at the high school level as a contractor, then I'm all for it. So I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to see what it looks like, and I'm going to get paid for it, obviously. It's not a whole heck of a lot of money, but it's also really not that bad. Like it's the hourly rate is pretty high, but as a professor, I will tell you, the hourly rate, if you count only your 2 feet in the classroom, it's going to be pretty good. But the hourly rate, if you count how much time of preparation it takes you to get these things done, it is not that great. But then again, as a teacher, I don't do it really for the money. I mean, yes, I do it for the money. I need to survive, right? But that is not the main motivator. There are easier ways to make money than to teach people. What I love is the impact I'll have on future generations, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I've accepted that graciously. I'm going to give it a shot, and we're going to see how that's going to go. Hopefully, I'll get some time to develop my automotive channel. I really want to get it to a point where it earns a little bit of ad revenue, because the goal would be to rent a garage somewhere and make videos from time to time. Probably not going to be anything like the electronics channel. The electronic channel I love because I get to do it in my basement. But the thing is, I am not an electronics expert. I'm a electronics hobbyist, and I'm becoming more knowledgeable as I go, which I believe is the charm of my channel, is my projects kind of like increase in scope and increase in, complexity and, in my opinion, coolness factor as time goes on. But to work on an automotive channel, I would be coming at it as an expert. So it's not you're learning with me. It's that here's the things that I have learned over the course of my years. Here's how to do it. And, I'm coming from experience. I can lend my experience to it instead of, me learning something just barely enough, doing something with it, and then making a video. So I'm hoping that this winter / this spring, I'll be able to do little things on the automotive channel and sort of see if there's a demand for that kind of stuff, and then go from there. But for now, the fact that I can parlay my experience in hobby electronics, working with oscilloscopes, multimeters, test lights, etc., into showing something automotive related, which is my other passion, to students, I think is pretty darn cool. What do you guys think? In other news, Gabe from the Save It for Parts YouTube channel, had him on the podcast before, just released his video, so we can stop the secrecy. I will link the video in the description to see what so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, Gabe was in Ottawa, sort of. He was in Carp, Ottawa, so the west end of Ottawa, visiting an old NATO radio observatory station. I'm actually not 100% clear what the name is, but the original use was to receive satellite communications, basically. And I think at the moment there is a private company who owns the building, and they rent out parts of the building to another private company. And there is a bunch of amateur astronomers, radio astronomers, who use the giant, I think it's a 20 meters, so 60-foot dish, in order to do radio astronomy. I do believe that's what they're doing. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, life is a bit of a roller coaster lately, so my brain is a bit fried, so I don't have good recall. Point is, because of Gabe, I had access to this facility, and I took some awesome footage. And now that his video is out, I didn't want to step on his feet and use my footage to make a video outright. But now that his video is out, I can make my video on the situation. And so I shall. And the gentleman who was interviewed there, Marcus, he has agreed to be on the podcast eventually, and I have also agreed to help him and his group of radio astronomers to fix and refurbish the giant satellite dish. The stuff they are doing with this dish is really up my alley. So I am not an electronics expert, but I certainly know a thing or two about electric motors, mechanical transmissions, and stuff like that. And what they are doing is essentially retrofitting lower end, or let's say lower power consumption electric motors and gearboxes to make this dish be able to move autonomously again, but at slower speeds, but at a lower power budget. So when NATO owned this facility, it didn't matter how much electricity they drew. It was like a blank check, right? It's a NATO project. But now that it is in private hands, these things matter. And I think on top of that, since the motors were so old, I think they're from the 70s, they would need to be refurbished anyways. And it's not in anybody's purview to spend that kind of money to fix this kind of stuff. In fact, Marcus's organization, I'm not 100% clear who runs the organization, but Marcus certainly seems to be one of the the responsible people. They have to raise. They're a nonprofit. They're basically doing this for the love of the game. They spend countless hours of free labor working on this thing. And if I can help in any ways, that's my purview. I would love to help, and he's graciously accepted that help. So, that being said, it can also end up being more videos, because while I'm there, I mean, it'll probably be very short videos. If I'm there to help. I'm there to work. I don't want to disturb their work by taking videos, but talking about like the size of motors about the motors, for example, I can show what the old motors look like. I can show what the new motors look like. I can show, what they're doing, what the transmission's doing, all this kinds of stuff. And as they build the control systems as well, I can make short videos on the control systems. So all this to say, what I'm hoping is that me spending time out there and Gabe making his video and me making my videos, I'm hoping it'll end up with a little bit of funding for these gentlemen, because I believe what they're doing is super cool, and they are just doing it. They are jumping in head first without funding, and they're hoping to get the funding after. They do get some funding from, I believe they got a grant from Princeton, but I feel like it's not enough. And we'll let Marcus talk about it once it's his time to come on to the podcast. But if I can help, really my time isn't super precious. I mean, I need to be doing stuff to feed myself. But I mean, if I go out there and get 2-3 videos out of it, I mean, that's perfectly fine for me. And if I can help, and if I can direct investors is the wrong word, donors towards them, I mean, I'm more than happy to do that. So here's hoping that you guys will take a look at Gabe's video. I believe he's got another one on the way. And once you take a look at that, then, if you know someone that's interested in this kind of stuff, the links to help out with a couple dollars here and there are going to be on Gabe's video. And when we talk to Marcus on the podcast, I'll get more information about that as well. So yeah. But I guess this will be it for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to my Patreon patrons and my channel members. You folks have not been getting a lot for your money. A couple of you have dropped out. And what I want to tell you is that I am not sad you are gone. I am thankful for the time you were here. It really helps to see that people like this stuff. If you want to help without costing a dime, there's a couple things you can do. You can use my affiliate links, which is pretty neat. I get some affiliate revenue from when you buy your regular purchases. But also, you can rate the podcast on whatever service, you're using. Give it a 5-star, give it a review, whatever you feel is right, and you can share it with people who you think might be interested. I know electronics is quite a niche hobby, but I think I reach into the maker zones as well, which is also niche, but not as niche. But here's hoping that maybe there's something that someone might like. Thanks for listening. Catch you in the next one.